what is the Golden Bachelor song?
I don't know.
even know. We should do the Golden Girls.
It's really dramatic in the beginning.
It should be the Golden Girls
when they show the ring that's spinning and
yes,
it says the Golden Bachelor.
Welcome to the Golden Bachelor recap with Jamie and Stephanie from the Uglee Truth. Hello. Okay, so we have 2 shows to recap, 2 episodes. The first one was the hometown visits.
Yes.
And so this is why I love the hometown visits. I know that you're not a big watcher of the Bachelor franchise, so this is new to you.
And I was disappointed. I thought I would get more. I don't know if they were squeezing it in because they did all 3.
No, this is pretty common. You're just getting the gist. You're getting the
and they
gist.
didn't go home together at night. Like, well, if they did, they didn't show it.
The point of hometown visits is for him to go meet the family,
see where they live,
see the vibe,
how they live,
how everything is, and then he goes and he moves on to another.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think I called it when I said dark horse. Teresa is looking like the front runner after all is said and done.
Yep.
I think.
Well, I do too. But
so he goes to visit Teresa first.
Yep.
Very normal family.
Where is she from again? Remind me. Is it
I think it's New Jersey.
I thought so too.
I think she's East Coast. I think
it was New Jersey.
I didn't.
I wasn't paying super close attention. The only one that caught my mind was the Washington, Faith. Because I just thought,
yes, I didn't know she was that far off. I didn't realize she was from Washington. I don't know why I never thought. She's like rural Washington too.
She is.
Like farm girl, horses, Washington. Which
I didn't get that vibe from her until they showed that.
Yeah. So the Teresa visit, I don't know about you, but it felt very natural. Like he kind of just molded right in. Very normal humans, just kind of living their life. Clearly miss their dad. The kids really miss their dad.
That was so sweet.
But they are also like, our mother needs to find someone. It's been a long time.
Teresa is the closest in age. I believe
she's the oldest.
70 or 71.
She's 71.
And he's 72.
Yes.
So maybe 73 by now.
When she was talking to her daughter, she even said, she goes, I'm competing against women who are 60.
Absolutely.
And they look it. And I look it. Like, I think they're all beautiful, personally.
I do too. Same.
But a decade is a generational.
It's huge.
That's very different.
We both know from an aging standpoint, as a vain woman that we are, that 10 years is huge.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And Teresa looks great for 70.
They all look great, but yes, you're right.
So there was that. Now, and I think at the end of the hometown visits, everybody realized that they did not show Gary telling Teresa that he loved her.
Yeah,
he was the only one. She was the only one that he did not say that to.
Now that's becoming more significant to me.
It is.
Because he said, I don't want to say it to anyone who's not... I can't remember when he said it, but he said something about, if I say it, like, and so I don't know if it's an editing thing.
A lot of people are claiming edit.
Okay.
But I don't
maybe
know.
He did say it.
Well, no, because when she comes for the rose ceremony and talks to the host, she said, well, I'm hoping he says it to me tonight. He did not tell me he loved me at hometown visit.
Yeah.
And so he didn't. Now, this thing, we all know these are heavily edited. They're not scripted per se.
No.
But if he's already made his choice in his mind,
why not give it a little dazzle I'm purposefully not going to tell her.
Exactly.
That way everybody thinks that I'm
exactly.
Totally.
If he had made the decision after the first one-on-one date, he's like, oh no, I'm going to pick Teresa. And we're going to have to go through 4 weeks of this show already. Yeah. I can safely not do that.
Go ahead.
Just like when I was telling you that he was ignoring Faith completely because he already knew she was going to be a top 3.
Totally.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, honestly, the three, well, up until now it's 2, but we all kind of knew that those were the ones that he was gravitating towards.
Agreed.
And honestly, the show, I love the show. I'm addicted to it. Totally.
Yeah, it's great.
We'll watch it forever. Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about real human interaction.
Yes.
So what you see on TV versus what's really happening, he's got to be a little bit of an actor.
Well, he is on a reality show.
Yeah.
And there has to be a little bit of that.
In his mind, he's probably like, no, like I can make this work for purposes of the show and like keep it going with her.
Right.
But honestly, like
reality
it's just never happening with this person.
So speaking of, the vibe was incredibly different when he went to visit Faith.
Yeah.
Now, when he went to visit Faith...
Well, they rode horses.
Well, they did.
Horses smell.
He walks up and she's like, literally
no jab on horses, by the way. I love horses.
no, I love him too. But she walks up to him. He, meets her on the ranch, and almost the first thing out of her mouth is, "I won't be leaving this farm
ever.
I love it here. I will die here. My horse, my favorite horse."
Buried.
Can you imagine? First of all, that's something that I would say on a first date. I'd be like, "By the way, my favorite horse is buried here. Want to see? Want to see?" And he's all, "Sure." In his mind, he's like, "Oh God, she's a horse girl." No diss on horse girls, but everyone knows horse girls can be a little odd sometimes.
They can be. Well, I do. I think it depends on the horse girl. I think
the obsession with women and horses is a very real thing. Yeah. And if you have the privilege of being around them, then you know.
Well, and if you're a part of that scene,
they're beautiful. They're majestic.
They're beautiful,
they're
and they're very expensive. You have to be somewhat privileged.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like these are, You know what I mean? It's like, yes, you have money. So there's a nice balance sometimes.
Yes.
Or there isn't.
I feel like Faith, they're almost like emotional support animals.
Yes.
She's a very traumatized person.
She is.
She's clearly had some trauma.
That's why I knew it wasn't going to work with them.
The whole vibe of her hometown visit was very off to me.
They were like, she's been hurt. We're protective of her. Blah, blah, blah. She's made, she's had people in her life that have hurt. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot to come into for a hometown visit, where the first visit,
Yeah, it's like, crazy. Okay, I have to rescue this person. And I'm 72. I'm not rescuing anyone at this point. I'm lucky if I have 10 years left.
This is not the thing that, Now, she's a beautiful, lovely woman.
She should have done therapy 30 years ago.
Honestly, girl.
And then she'd be great.
Honestly.
At this point.
So then he goes to...
There's not enough time.
Yeah, so he leaves, and in my mind, I'm like, ain't happening. I'm like, in fact, I didn't know how the Leslie one was going to go, and I'm like, she ain't getting a rose.
No.
Unless this thing with Leslie completely blows up in his face, Faith is out. And so then he goes to Minneapolis. Okay, first red flag, they don't go to her house. They go to like an empty restaurant.
Okay, I thought I was being a snob.
No.
I'm like, why are we not going to the trailer park where they live?
And then we meet the brother, and that honed it in. And I went, listen, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
They're normal, down-to-earth people.
Absolutely.
However, they be rough.
And let's be honest.
And how many times did they say, well, you're nothing like she normally dates? And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay.
So my thing is this, Gary is, he's lovely, right? But Gary is privileged.
And he's very, very white.
Right? Okay. Not only is he privileged, but he's white privileged, but he's just, you can tell he's lived a very charmed life. He's probably always had some money. I don't think he's ever been anything less than middle class.
Stephanie, he's so Caucasian, he can't even dance.
Seriously.
And that's all Leslie does. Dance with me. And I'm like, stop making this flat ass dance, please. No more.
Even the kids were like, do you like to dance? He's like, I do.
What is this obsession with the dancing? Is this a Minneapolis thing? Like, what is happening?
I think it's important to her. And
Fine.
It's like a big part of her life, but
great.
Not happening with Gary. So the more that we press forward, I am convinced that it is Teresa.
I will say this though, and I maintain this. I have said this for a while now. He is incredibly attracted to Leslie sexually.
Agreed.
There is a sexual chemistry
there. And there's still Costa Rica. He can scratch that itch.
Well,
but he doesn't have to propose.
Here's my thing. I think that he will sleep with her and then he'll pick Teresa. Mm-hmm. I really do. I really, really do.
Hopefully he does Teresa first, because I don't like sloppy seconds.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting though. So
I think if the producers are smart, they'll do it that way.
Right.
So that way Teresa doesn't feel like, ew, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like she's the one. And
I know. So
she's like, oh, but at the same time, there's that sting of, oh, we did it and you still did it with her.
He's entitled to do whatever he wants.
No, we all know the rules when it comes to the show.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Everybody knows what goes on in the fantasy suites. And
I am so excited.
In fact, I think I even saw a line for the preview of Costa Rica where he said, just because we're old doesn't mean we don't like to knock boots.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And I'm like, all right. Okay, Gary.
Well, we all know. Come on. Well, when you're a person of our age, you're like, please.
Where do you think Viagra came from? It wasn't for 20-year-olds.
But young people have this thing in their minds that they're like, sex is for you when you're young and you're having children and you're newly married and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no.
Sex doesn't end ever if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
But anyway, with that being said, the rose ceremony comes and he does his little
It was rather dramatic, wasn't
he
it?
does his little, crying fix.
Stop.
He's like, I know what I have to do. I just don't want to do it.
I know what I want to do. I know what
I'm going to do. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, which was very I'm decided.
But what's funny is Leslie, immediately he's like, Leslie, will you take this rose? She's like, yes. He's like, I will fuck you. Oh, I can't say that word. Sorry. I will have sex with you. But anyway.
Right.
And dude, the online fury, no one likes Teresa.
Why?
I don't know.
To me, she makes the most sense.
She has made the most sense since the beginning.
Because she's genuine. She's kind of pure.
She's a widow.
She
loves her family.
She does. She's that typical caretaker type, which I think that's what he was used to.
Yeah, probably.
But I think he is one too, in a man that the man guy way. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And the other thing that people are hung up on is they're like, who's going to move to Indiana? And I'm like, it has been said multiple times by Gary that he will move.
Yeah. He's not saying he wouldn't.
He never said, I'm never leaving Indiana. First of all, he's already sold the lake house. He doesn't live at the lake house anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like, that was my wife's dream. He made that very clear. Yeah. So he lives where he lives, but he's retired. He can go wherever he wants.
And you know what? Men and their daughters, it's different. It's not quite the same as when you're a mother. When you're a mother, being away from your children is like ripping your heart out.
All I know is that when you have adult children, eventually they're just like, please go live your life.
Especially if they're healthy. And I'm sorry, of all of them, it feels like Teresa's children and family are healthy.
They're very stable.
Productive members of society. They're not needy, clingy. And same with his children.
Yeah, they're all very independent. They've all felt the same loss.
No one's going to start bawling, you can't leave me, Dad.
No, they want them to have a life. They're like, your life isn't over.
And imagine, this one of the things I love about this show, because I think it's a new spinoff of the franchise.
Yes.
Is it's just so exciting for them. Like, my dad is the freaking Golden Bachelor.
That's amazing.
Like, how cool is this experience? Like, even if nothing comes out of it.
Everybody gets to see how great he is.
It was so fun. Yeah.
So then so now we have our top two. Faith is devastated. She is sent home. And now we have the tell-all. And I was like, I thought it was kind of weird that they plugged this tell-all in before everything.
I did too.
However, it worked out because there were so many women that people really loved to see. And they wanted to know. First of all, Susan is very popular.
Wasn't she so fantastic?
I love her so much.
We love her. I wonder if she'll be the next Bachelorette. Oh, I would love that.
Oh, no. The rumors are flying about who's going to be the Golden Bachelorette. So there was a couple of awkward moments. Joan was awkward to me. The awkward moment was she admitted that her daughter had postpartum depression and it was severe. Yeah. I'm still not completely convinced that she didn't.
Only reason.
I feel like she checked out because she's like, I don't want to do this. This is too hard. Her husband's only been gone 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, it was really fresh.
But I feel like she maybe had some second thoughts when she was on because it was later. Who knows how many weeks or even months it was from when they when she actually left for when she did that episode.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I did see some genuine regret in her face and the way she was talking, but I think that came later.
Yeah, I think she was like, I knew I had to be a mom. I knew that, but and then they're like, well, do you think that you would have been a contender? She's like, I just think we had a really great connection. So who knows? She was really, really good about not saying, these hoes have no idea.
She was so young.
She's very
So
young.
I'm sure she was thinking that, like, well, yeah, I'm 60, duh. I could have got him with the looks and the body and all that alone.
But what if they didn't hit it off?
But I feel like Gary, and maybe I'm giving him too much credit. We'll see. But I feel like he's more of a substance guy. I think he kind of realizes at his age that sex and that part of it isn't going to do it for him. Well, for very long.
Not for very long.
Right.
And if he truly is trying to find someone
that he can really have deep connecting feelings for, it's not going to be with a young woman.
I don't think so.
I don't.
No.
I think the marriages that I've seen personally who have lasted the length of time, like 40, 50 years, they're usually all just like within a few years of each other.
Yes.
You can be, 7, 8, 9, that can work.
I mean, there's always exceptions to every rule, but generally speaking.
But if it's a huge age gap, it's going to be very difficult later in life.
Right. And he was married for a very long time. So he's not like, and he even admitted, he's like, I've dated I dated. Everybody said date after a year, and I did. And so it's not like the man's been a monk.
No, he hasn't. And the thing is like, I feel like his wife died prematurely.
She definitely did.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that dying in your early 60s is anything anybody. Yeah,
that's
right?
That's too young.
Yeah. So it's been, 6 years, I think, since she died?
Yes.
So he was in his mid 60s.
Yeah.
So it's just unfortunate that grief takes so long to get through, because now he's ready to get married, and he's 72. It's like, get cracking, mister.
I know, right?
And this is what a great way to do it. Go on the Golden Bachelor.
And someone even mentioned in regard to Joan specifically, they're like, this is a woman who just lost her husband 2 years ago, which means she was in her mid to late 50s.
Yeah, which is so young.
Which is really young. And then, hook up with a 72-year-old man, she will be saying goodbye to another husband again.
Yeah.
Well, all of them would be. I mean, that's not something I definitely would be signing up for.
Teresa and him will be very
They're the
close.
same age.
Yeah.
So anyway, the tell-all comes. Everybody, it's lighthearted. It's wonderful. They show some bloopers.
Those were funny, actually.
Okay, they showed Sandra farting.
I couldn't with that.
Stephanie,
Jimmy, you and I were on the same page. As soon as they showed, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I was like, "This
I can
can't
smell
be
it through
real.
the TV. This is
and
absurd."
she's just like, "What?" She goes, "As you were saying," I'm like,
which was funny.
I was stunned.
I was like, "Am I going to be like that in my 70s?"
I was stunned.
Never.
That is something.
Not.
She's like, well, I have intestinal issues. I'm like, that is not just intestinal issues.
Well,
that's freaking manners.
Your girlfriend Suzanne, she did the same damn thing.
You know what?
With the guacamole.
I'm trying really hard not to get throw uppy right now because I can feel it.
They were talking about it way too much.
And then Ellen's like, it's the meatballs. I'm like, please stop. Please stop talking about it.
I couldn't.
Why are you stop? Everybody's so gassy.
But
stop it.
I know she was so funny. Suzanne was, because she's like, you know what? If I would have got picked tonight, I would have had to cancel. She's like, I would not have gone.
That was hilarious.
She
she goes, it was the guacamole. I'm like, well, maybe it was, but it was because you were eating like a gallon of it.
She said that. She's like, I couldn't stop. Morning, noon, and night. I was eating guacamole. Although she was making vats of it.
And then she was making chicken piccata for everyone and meatballs. I'm like, women, they're like, this is a vacation. We know we're not getting the man, so we're just going to live it up. And honestly, me.
And honestly, the way they film, when they were filming, when they were
Party.
probably when they were filming like the individual dates, like where he was gone with one woman, they probably had like 10, 12 hours just hanging out in this giant mansion. What would you do? Cook?
Margaritas,
Absolutely.
food, swimming, all of those.
Things. Yeah.
It'd be great. I'd be like, please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. I want to go swimming today.
Right.
I mean, that would be me. I'd be like,
it was so awesome. The other thing I loved about this episode was they really showcased the friendships that they developed. Which
loved it.
I was in love with.
Loved it.
I'm like, I don't care if they were, and that's the great thing about women of a certain age.
Yeah.
Some of that shit is the petty bullshit.
Oh, they don't care.
No. And I know, did you notice, what's her name? Kathy.
Yeah, she backtracked him dramatically.
Not only that, but she's watching herself and she's like, I hate this beyond.
She's like, why was I such a bitch?
She's like, God, I hate myself. But, we needed a little.
And by the way, she looked great.
She did look great.
She did not look like she just had a stroke at a talent show.
Well, because she didn't have to film for 14 hours a day.
You know what? That was so mean that they did that to her.
God damn it.
Mean.
I mean,
you want to know how mean it was? I reposted it with our recap on it, and someone flagged it as bullying. And I was like, I did not film that.
And you're like, that is what she
is what she looked like.
Okay.
But someone went, absolutely not.
Okay, fine. You got it out for a moment.
Like, it's ABC's fault, not mine. I did not film that frame of her at all. But anyway, I digress. Mean. So then Faith comes out. Stephanie, I was like, she came out.
She had big boobs.
They're crying. Gary's crying. She is crying.
Yeah, she was ugly crying.
And I'm like, what is happening? This is a man you've known for a month.
I know.
Like, why is this so traumatic for you?
She's like, I really thought I was going to win.
I think she was humiliated more than anything.
I think she really thought.
She believed everything.
She believed it. Yeah.
Everything.
Like, she got so caught up in whatever it was.
Yeah. And you know what?
That it was real for her. I'm like, honey.
There are people in this world who believe everything everyone says, and they leave themselves so vulnerable every time.
Well, and her family is.
I'm the opposite. I believe nothing.
I don't either. Well, we have trust issues. But imagine her family.
She should have trust issues.
She should. But her family's like, oh my God, like finally, blah, blah, blah. They were probably telling her all the things she wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And like, this is it for you. And she's
so
like,
bad.
oh my God, what do you mean you didn't pick me?
Bad.
But, yeah.
So anyway, the crying,
I was glad.
The crying went on for a while, and then when they sat
long.
down and she was going on and on, Stephanie, I am not kidding. I fast forwarded through it. I'm like,
Oh.
I'm enough. It's enough.
I wanted to see if Gary was going to react.
A little too long, and he was just like, I don't even know what to say to this.
He just sat there. There was nothing he could have said that would have changed or made him. In
his mind,
no good could have come of him opening his mouth.
He grew up in a house full of women. Yeah. And he learned very early on that you just have to let them talk it out.
Yeah.
And it's true, and he was like, I'm the quote unquote, the bad guy here because I broke this woman's heart. She's going to take all the time in the world and I'm just going to take it.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The viewers don't give a shit.
No, we didn't.
Anymore.
We didn't feel
sorry
for her.
And in his mind, he's like, oh boy, I bet Teresa feels really bad right now. Because I know we're going to Hawaii after all is said and done.
Well, I wonder, I was wondering while I was watching this episode, how many of these shows, whether it be the spinoff, the original, do the people actually end up together?
Well,
I know the very first one they did,
and I believe they're still together.
Yes,
Trista and Ryan.
Yes,
there are ones in the Bachelor universe there are several couples who have met and married. They weren't necessarily on each other's shows, but they've met like at Bachelor in Paradise. There's like 2 or 3 that got married from Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh,
but as far as the top winners, it's been a really long time since it's actually
stayed.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about this one.
I think one of the reasons, I think this one would stick. I think because it's uncharted territory.
Yeah.
It's the first one. So I think it's a little bit different. The problem with the Bachelor franchise now is all of the men and women who want on the show are looking for fame.
We talked about this.
Influencing or whatever. I don't think any of these women, I mean, there might be a smattering here and there that we're looking for some kind of something.
Recognition.
But the reality is that most of these women are just going to go back and go, oh, I did this really cool thing once.
Yeah.
Before I died.
Yeah.
It was a cool adventure. I met a bunch of amazing women.
I got to stay in a mansion. I know what the television world is like now.
There are certainly some women who I would not hate seeing again.
Yeah.
I loved Susan. I didn't even hate Kathy all that much.
I didn't hate Kathy.
I think Joan,
she was really smart.
Very, very smart. I think that Joan is someone who has that look that, everybody thinks that's what a geriatric woman should look like, which is bullshit, by the way. But she is very put together.
Yeah.
And so she could do something with herself if she wanted to.
Is she the one that's doing the TikToks now?
Yes, she's making cooking things on TikTok.
Yeah.
So she's whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But the rest of them are going to be like, whatever,
I'm just going to go back to my life.
Yeah.
Right.
And they probably will find some men who will be
like,
so too. I saw you,
Yeah.
girl.
If they didn't have an Instagram, they do now.
Yeah, I think they all have to have one. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But now there's some discussion about who might be the first Golden Bachelorette.
Yeah, that's all I can think about.
Everybody thinks it'll be Joan.
No,
I don't
she's
think
too
so.
boring.
I think that, Faith, it's a risk.
No.
Leslie is the other one.
No.
I can't recall if they don't necessarily pull from the top 3. Sometimes they do, though.
I guess they could, but
Sometimes
I mean,
they do.
I think that the ones they have to choose from, there's better choices. Maybe they weren't suited for Gary, but as far as like being the right person for television.
Well, that's kind of my thing is like, I don't think Leslie is the one for TV. Now, Faith has a lot going on.
She's short.
I don't know.
She's small.
Oh, is she?
Which is okay. I'm not saying anything about that. Because Faith was tall, really tall.
Faith has a lot going on. She's
physically.
Well, not like that, but who doesn't love a hot mess for reality television?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she would be a good option.
That's true.
There'd be a lot of crying.
Yeah, but I mean, men are so logical that
But this might cure her of her believing everything.
It could. Not only that, but if she was in control, yeah, you're right.
Might be good for her.
It could be. Yeah, it could be empowering.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to let the production choose for me, and I will watch and see what happens.
I hope they do it.
Yeah.
I'm just so curious what kind of geriatric men will sign up for this.
Honestly. Well, they all see, that's the thing is though, the criteria for being on the show is quite high. You can't just be a total, I mean, I think they were pushing it with Faith.
And Leslie.
What? Was she the one?
Well, Leslie is
who's the one where they didn't go to a house?
Leslie.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she brought her brother and one kid and a grandchild.
Right.
I'm like, okay. Fine.
Yes.
It's fine. She probably didn't think she was going to be picked.
Right.
She's like, well, I don't have time to buy a home.
They all said the same thing. Like when they put in for it, they were just like, this is so dumb. They're never going to pick me. And then they were like, I can't believe that I actually got picked.
You're like, what am I going to do?
And I think that goes with when you're older, you start to feel less important, like less, like people don't really want to see me. I know.
That was
true.
so sad.
But that was one of the things I loved about the show. It's like at the end, when we're getting towards the end, it's like, no, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that's how I see women and even gentlemen in our, I was sitting in traffic the other day and this very expensive, I was in the rich part of town, by the way, and this very expensive car pulls up behind me and I noticed it because I like it, that particular model and brand and everything. I was like, ooh, those are fucking badass. And I looked to see who was driving it. And this man was probably 80, white hair, typical white rich guy, glasses, nerdy looking. And I was watching him and thinking, what kind of life he probably didn't always look like this.
No.
He was probably really hot or good looking when he was younger and when he was making all of this money, and it's just, to me, I don't see a little old man driving $150,000
You see someone who had a really great life.
Yeah. And he's probably really interesting. But then of course my brain goes the other way. He's like, he probably beat his wife his whole life and never talked to his children. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what? You can fantasize about what you think somebody
have no idea
is.
who someone
but
is.
You have no idea.
It's true. Unless they end up on The Bachelor. All right, well, there are 2 episodes left. And so I think the next time you and I get together, both episodes will be complete.
Yes, because
we have a Thanksgiving break and we're not going to meet to do this.
Yeah.
But we will recap the rest of the season and hopefully they will also announce who the Golden Bachelorette will be.
Do they usually do it like in the same? Oh my God, how exciting.
There's so much. So we'll have a huge recap.
I can't wait.
Any predictions?
Well, I think
Teresa. We both think Teresa, right?
I do.
I do too.
I really do. I
think
she's the best suited for him. I think she's the best match for him.
Yes.
I think that she's, like they always say, the quiet women are always the nastiest in bed.
Not only that, but someone said, anybody ever realize that she looks like Ducky from that dinosaur movie?
The one
Littlefoot.
Oh, yes. I was thinking
movie?
Ducky from
No, not
Pink.
Pretty in Pink. The little ducky dinosaur.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that movie so much.
Well, our kids were little when that
Something
movie was
Before
out.
Time. Land Before Time. God damn it. A Land Before Time. Everybody says, did anybody ever notice that she looks like Ducky from Land Before Time? I'm all, she kind of does. But that's a cute dino.
But she's cute. She's
what I mean? Very cute.
She's not ugly. She's just not.
She's a cutie.
She's not this sexual, like, la la la, but I bet she can be.
I'm sure of it.
Uh-huh.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.